The golden age of America begins right now.
A new era began today as President Donald Trump became the 47th president, returning to the nation's highest office.
As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda.
The president wasted no time issuing executive orders, even signing the first wave in front of his supporters in downtown Washington, D.C. Monday night, and the big story in Action News is the second historic inauguration of Donald Trump. Hours after being sworn in, President Trump signed roughly 200 executive actions, many of them undoing Biden administration mandates. In his first move at the White House, he issued a full pardon for about 1,500 people involved in the January 6th Capitol assault. Trump also declared a national emergency at the U.S.-Mexico border, ordering construction on his border wall to resume and issuing a directive to end birthright citizenship. Also, he's terminating diversity programs in federal agencies. Trump also paused the TikTok ban for 75 days. Well, moments after President Trump granted clemency to those hundreds of January 6 defendants, crowds of people gathered outside of the D.C. Central Detention Facility. Some had been there before he was sworn in, anticipating Trump would follow through on his longtime promise to absolve those who participated in the attack on the U.S. Capitol 4 years ago. Among those receiving clemency is Enrique Tarrio, the former head of the far-right group the Proud Boys, who was serving a 22-year sentence. Also receiving a commuted sentence is Zach Reel, the former leader of the Philadelphia chapter of Proud Boys. The Port Richmond native was sentenced to 15 years. The brother of the Capitol police officer who was killed, Brian Sicknick, called the pardons, quote, a betrayal of decency. Well, President Trump's inauguration was different than those in recent decades as it was moved inside of the Capitol because of the bitterly cold temperatures in Washington. Action News anchor John Paul was there for all of today's inaugural events.
Yeah, a lot happening here in the nation's capital tonight. The President Trump, now the 47th president, has signed a slew of executive orders, including withdrawing from the World Health Organization, also pardoning some 1,500 people who were arrested for their roles on the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The Capitol is where this day began when the president took his second oath of office.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
A return to power as Donald Trump was sworn in as the 47th president inside the Capitol Rotunda at noon today.
From this moment on, America's decline is over.
He spoke before a few hundred members of Congress, dignitaries and supporters, much smaller than a typical inauguration after it was moved inside because of the frigid weather. During his 30-minute address, he talked about a wide range of issues, including the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. He said he'll declare a national emergency at the southern border. He talked about the fires burning in Los Angeles and even touched on gender identity.
As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
We must be honest about the challenges we face.
Supporters gathered outside the Capitol during the speech, watching it on cell phones.
We had to modify our own approach, so we set up the cell phone. We watched the entire swearing-in ceremony.
Everybody just kind of rolled with the punches and said, well, I guess, hey, it's better to be here than anywhere else.
The president also spoke at Emancipation Hall and left the Capitol for Capital One Arena for another rally and an indoor parade.
So I'm revoking nearly 80 destructive, radical executive actions of the previous administration. They'll all be null and void within about, 5 minutes? Is that them over there? 5 minutes?
Now, President Trump has signed dozens of other executive orders here in Washington, D.C. tonight, including stalling the ban of TikTok. On Capitol Hill, John Paul, Channel 6 Action News.